Welcome back to Games Without Borders. It is here, the final match of the day. One more chance to get one step closer to that grand final and that prize pool of $1.25 million. We've had an incredible set of matches up to this point, and it's only going to get better as I'm joined by Dazarin and Corelli in the virtual studio. The boys are back. A nice, relaxing break. Corelli, or were you tearing your hair out watching Complexity get kicked to the curb?
Yeah, a little bit. I was a little sad. I'm not gonna lie, but you gotta look at Koi and say, listen, they bring out that guy Cosmic, and boy, he went to work against Raze Bull. Really redeemed himself, I think, in the eyes of everyone who was watching him for the first time here. But of course, Dazarin and I as well, as he really took a thrashing against Atomic. But I think Koi, they put on a good game, and it's not just the ones game that they looked good in. It was the threes as well, where they were able to kind of close out against Complexity. It was not a Mickey win for Koi, and that's the good news for them as they qualify for Gamers 8.
What a time to do it, and in the lower bracket, no less. It seems like they're pretty comfortable down there. Dazarin, any highlights from you regarding the set of matches that we've seen today?
Oh, man. I definitely want to point out Cosmic's being just that improvement in the 1v1 category, right? We saw him earlier in the day. He started off slow. I think he got a lot of flack, but I think a lot of people forget that, that's really his first time playing on like a high-profile stage such as this, and to be able to see the level of improvement over the course of the day and really see him find his form was absolutely fantastic to watch.
Well, Corelli, let's focus in on the match at hand. We've got OpTic Gaming going up against Spacestation. For the viewers at home, what history do these two teams have against each other?
Oh, long history here, at least for the players. For the orgs, well, OpTic, has been generally newer here as far as the branding goes. But I think what's interesting about this team is you have a guy like LJ who's been really playing well on Space Station's side. He's been a lot of fun to watch and really kind of showing his stuff here again on a big stage like this. Some people might have been up on LJ when he first came on. But, kind of fell to the back seat of Daniel. And with the departure of Daniel, you kind of expect LJ to really step up. And I think that's what we've seen now on not only the 3v3, the 2v2, but also the 1v1 as well.
Well, either way, a name that we could expect to see qualifying, in the top 4 in Gamers Without Borders. Either way, one of these names is going home. So, we've seen Space Station struggle in the ones today, OpTic demoralized by Complexity early on, but then they're on the comeback. Dazarin, what can we expect? What do you reckon?
Ooh, for this particular matchup, especially, I think that we're really going to see if OpTic have all the pieces of the puzzle. I mean, we talked about it going into today and in their first matchup to see how things would look, and we saw some signs of glory here, but they've had a lot of different opportunities to really kind of find their mold and see what works for them, and I feel like this will be the final big test to play against a Space Station team that's also been kind of scratching and clawing their way throughout the bracket.
Well, 2 wins from the start of today would have got you qualified to Gamers 8, but if you get sent into the lower bracket early on, it's 3 matches. That's just too much work. Yeah, Corelli, I feel like that's just too much work. But our casters are ready for our 6th and final series of the day here at Gamers Without Borders. Don't worry, we've got more action coming up in the next few days, and tomorrow we will have a grand finalist in the NA region. But for now, let's go in with Lemon Kiwi and Spaceman, and we're going into Space Station Gaming versus OpTic.
I mean, listen, it would not be a qualification match for North America if it wasn't Space Station versus OpTic Gaming. I don't know how we got here. I'm glad it exists. Welcome into the final match here on Alpha, because my goodness, Lemon Kiwi, this one's going to be fun. Both these teams rising at the right times. Both these teams with history. Reddles, SSG, Reddles, my goodness. And you know that it's going to come down to the wire, because you win this, you're in. You lose, you're gone. I don't want it any other way.
And you got to go against, you got to cast your team versus your alter ego, which we were kind of making fun of this earlier. So this is going to be a tough one for you to watch, especially with both these teams in the lower bracket. We have to say goodbye to one of them, and they will not be making Gamers 8, as you mentioned. And it was a tough road for either team. OpTic dropping to Complexity in their very first match. Of course, an easy one against Boulevard. But then Space Station had to go against G2 in the semi. That was a game 5. They find themselves here. So I'm expecting a close one.
Yeah, you look at the Space Station road to this point, the road to prosperity changes, and SSG's had a bit of a tougher competition. Granted, OpTic played Complexity. That's a tough way to start. You lose 3-1, then you play Boulevard, but for SSG against Axel, look, as a mid-weight team, not really going to do a whole lot, but still could give you a run for your money, and then they go against G2 in Game 5. They're not able to close it out. G2 in threes. I mean, Johnny said it best. Like, this is what you come to expect from G2. In this instance, if we're looking across the board at what we think might happen, I have to be giving the nod to OpTic in the threes. To start, recency bias is one way to dissect the conversation, but it's a great way to start one. And OpTic have looked good as of late. They've cleaned the rotations, they've fixed the fundamentals, and they're not making as many mistakes. But as this entire tournament has proven, it's going to come down to those micro games, the 1s and 2s, where Lemon Kiwi, this one could get turned on its head, and we could go 5.
I know in the 1s against Complexity, OpTic, aka AJ, looked really competitive, only dropped that game by 1 goal. That's a tough team to go up against in 1s, of course. Space Station versus OpTic. For that spot, of course, tons of money available for charity. I'm really stoked for this game, and it's Space Station that turns this into an offense.
Of course, we have, the roster change with SSG, Daniel out, Hoxer in, but you win this best of 5, you move on, you qualify for the main event, you lose, you join everybody else watching at home, and Magic Bear sends it on its way. At Space Station, we'll watch that one fly through.
To watch this one again, catches it midair, gets the reset. LJ pre-jumps, Hoxer's like, I'm not sure about this one. And still tucks it into the upper 90. OpTic Gaming with a good start. I feel like a lot of people underestimated OpTic coming into this bracket. As Dazarin said, puzzle pieces coming together to make art. And we weren't just sure how those were fitting just so quickly, but they find themselves in the lower bracket after, able to take a game from Complexity. But how do you do against Space Station?
Absolutely. And look, the woes for OpTic have been public. They've been very vocal about their shortcomings, what the roster's potential is, and how often they have come up short, and the coach has been one of the forefronts of that. He's made it very clear they need to turn things around, but Space Station have a lot to prove as well. You leave Daniel on his loan, he goes to V1. Granted, the trade was en route for a couple of weeks, but still, Space Station with Hoxer now have a lot to prove in their threes gameplay, because this is what we're going to see in normal tournament fashion. But the crew is always interesting. We'll get into that as it happens. For now, though, it's a 1-0 lead for OpTic Gaming. They're trying to play it off the backboard, and Magic Bear will find the clear. Feed the bear, as they say over at the Green Wall, because he's been fantastic for the past few days, working through qualifying rounds, and here he has to have a good series as well.
When you say feed the bear, I don't feel so good. Canadians, no, you don't leave your garbage out at night, because bears come and so do the raccoons. So actually the rule in Canada is don't feed the bears, because you don't want them in your neighborhood. But this one I wouldn't mind. Space Station started applying that pressure. Arsenal in the air, 14 boost and a dream. Contested there by OpTic. Reddles try to go for the clear. Hoxer to the ceiling. LJ in the box. There's too much coverage on him to make the play. And OpTic Gaming tuck it to the opposite side.
OpTic starting to scramble now as well, and you can see just the constant challenges from Hoxer as LJ followed up on the extra call, but he's the last man back. The island moves forward. He wins another 50, and this is something that OpTic's going to have to deal with. SSG applying so much pressure, but Magic Bear doesn't get the clear he wanted. Reddles had to come up very quickly in his rotation and push back out to midfield. LJ on a dish, and it's a beautiful read from Space Station. They're starting to pick apart the defense on the goal line, and they're saving boost at midfield to follow up with powerful shot after powerful shot. Finally, OpTic do find the clear. Is it enough on the counter attack? Here comes AJ. He can do it on his own, but he has one player in front to worry about, and Space Station have a better defense to handle.
That initial challenge, we had the one-on-one. Space Station slow down the play enough, and below the defender, AJ scoops it out. And then LJ to Arsenal. It's going to be tough with LJ versus AJ. My brain is racking this many hours in. Tipping it back, though, to Arsenal. Reddles is there in time.
I mean, if we're looking at just kind of parallel matchups, I'm looking at Reddles versus Arsenal on the sidewall. That's where both really find some of their grooves, especially with feeding the offense. And again, these are two teammates that used to exist together on Space Station Gaming. They were on one of the longest standing rosters in RLCS history. And of course, they go their separate ways. Things change after the World Championship last year. How do they adapt with the new squads underneath them? It was a demo in the back line, but Reddles could not continue the play. The ball will get back to the midfield, and AJ clears it, leaves it. Reddles with a great shot. Here comes Magic Bear. Slow roller, trying to bully their way into the front of the box. Bye-bye Magic Bear. AJ with the clear to the corner, and all of a sudden, as everybody scrambles through the dust, it does settle for SSG. They have a lot here in the tank, and Arsenal tries to find his way forward and has enough teammates around to keep this one going, but it's chip shots left to right on the 50s where OpTic find the possession yet again.
AJ flicks it above the one. Now that LJ's feeling comfortable connecting with Hoxer, just popping it up and above the defenders. OpTic position well to slow it down. Shots from Space Station to the back wall. Not something they could really find the bounce of, not with Reddles there. But with 56 seconds remaining, Space Station find themselves only down by 1. You got some demos in the midfield giving a chance for Space Station to strike, but nothing yet.
It's not that Space Station haven't had their chances. They really have. They just haven't found the placements they want. They haven't been able to pull too much. But AJ, on their own goal line, says, you know what? I'll catch the pass and pull up for a shot. It was left up to LJ. He misses on the clear badly. Come back for the rebound, and AJ is there ready and waiting.
And that feels like it seals the deal, but I'm a believer of the Space Station Gaming. If there's someone that can, if there's a team or 3 someones that can pull it off, it's Space Station. But it starts with a kickoff of OpTic Gaming. Now can just drain time and waste the opportunities for Space Station Gaming. Shots there for Hoxer. It's neutralized, and AJ going up against Hoxer. LJ in the net. Everyone's shoving OpTic Gaming out of the way, but how does Space Station just counterattack?
I mean, you can't. When you're constantly getting 50'd and bullied by Magic Bear, AJ overextending upfield, and as everybody else falls back. I mean, that was the clear that very reminiscent of First Killer's mistake in the last major. LJ couldn't get it back to midfield, and it was punishing from OpTic. They follow up yet again, cutting into the lane, and look where AJ's at. He's off the play. He's behind the defense. He's finding ways to stay alive on these extra touches, these extra rebounds for OpTic. A 3-0 lead and a Game 1 win, a very decisive one and convincing for the Green Wall to take a 1-0 series lead.
Oh, the Green Wall strong, coming in as a 3rd seed, and complexity, or sorry, not complexity, but just after this, Space Station Gaming fall behind and not able to draw any goals against OpTic Gaming, which is surprising to say the least. I feel like they were threatening. I mean, if I had to play defense against Space Station Gaming, I'd be scared too. But just OpTic Gaming found the little gaps that they were able to. Magic Bear, the reset, I mean, that set the tone for the game.
Yeah, and one of the biggest starts for SSG off the rip was the opening kickoff, and you're already seeing Hoxer win extra rebounds, setting up his teammates for more possessions. You're getting a lot of pressure if you're OpTic right off the start, and you're not used to that. You're not used to teams just shoving it down your face that early. OpTic handled the pressure and immediately went back upfield and started counterattacking. They started finding those extra touches. They started finding those infield cuts where AJ gets very physical. You see AJ sort of swinging off the ball, playing off-ball offense. We talk a lot about how OpTic can utilize that and how they've cleaned up the fundamentals on their counterattacks. They looked really good in the traffic moments where SSG were throwing numbers at the pitch, but SSG had their chances. They had opportunities in this game. They just didn't capitalize. And then OpTic would go down, steal possession, and wait for a chance, a mistake from SSG before they would throw something at the net. So OpTic take a 1-0 series lead, and now it's up to SSG. Do they want 2s? Do they want 1s? I think in this instance, to get everybody back to baseline, Lemon Kiwi, I think you're probably looking at 2s. Granted, like if you have a better option at 1s, maybe, but I don't know if they do. And as I say that, we got 2s on our screen. I like this call from SSG.
Yeah, 2s just feels more secure. So if you make a mistake, there's someone there to back you up, to rotate back, maybe put a Band-Aid on it. Like I said, the pressure of 1s is a lot for one person to handle, especially with this much on the line, a spot in Gamers 8. LJ to the left corner. They got OpTic Gaming just ball chasing right now, and it gives time for Space Station Gaming to kind of grab some boost and collect themselves.
And if we're looking on paper, I mean, this is the 2s matchup you want. You want Magic Bear and AJ together on the field versus this squad. You're probably favoring OpTic to start, but it'll be all up to who eventually scores first. As AJ was thinking about the musty, but instead is able to escape into a 1v1 again. He's going to circle through and grab boost. Magic Bear now takes his chance. But for Space Station, controlling possession. It's got to come down to that. LJ, a ceiling demon. Hoxer, great midfield presence, great awareness in the space. You have to be willing to play patient and challenge Magic Bear through the corner. Don't let OpTic get these possessions for free.
Can't let it happen. AJ, LJ? Oh, of course those two had to collide of all people, but I got it right this time. I took my time with it. So did Hoxer, just dumping it in, going back. And it feels like in 2s, you don't really have time to breathe. You have to balance between grabbing boost and not letting the other team, while you're away, get away with too much. AJ with the double.
Well, in twos, you got a lot of room to work with, much more space in the air, and that's what you're going to see. When it comes to a 2v1, it's a guessing game for Hoxer. He has to challenge, he has no choice, and you have your luck of the draw for OpTic. You pick the placement you want. You can either pass it down, go for a waterfall, go for a pinch. Regardless, you're going to get involved, and with that, OpTic, a 1-0 lead, and they'll play it through their own corner off the kickoff. It's a win for Spacestation. Can they really capitalize here before AJ steals possession? Doesn't look like it. Magic Bear on the wing, but a pop from AJ, and he'll follow through before electing to essentially leave off and wait for Magic Bear to get back on defense.
Oh, he's flying. Oh, it messed up his second, or at least the bump for the double he wanted. Space Station Gaming looked good, but there's the punish from AJ yet again.
That's the twos right there. Immediate clear, fly up, get the quick touch. LJ tried, but it just didn't have enough boost in the tank to meet that ball. And it's a 2-0 lead. Again, twos is long. It's also 3 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. There's a lot of time to be played for Space Station. But if OpTic get another, Lemon Kiwi get into instances where we talk about swinging momentum in a series, swinging momentum for a team. You're thinking if OpTic are up 3-0, and if they do it quickly, how much pressure does that put on SSG?
It's a lot. I mean, especially in the lower bracket against a team you weren't sure how far they were going to go. I mean, I'm sure all the teams are focused on themselves. You got LJ and AJ battling off into the distance. So we'll zoom back in on this 1v1. AJ up the wall against LJ, dropping it down, looking for a friend in the box. But it's Space Station now that can work at least their first goal, at least hopefully, because nothing's been generated yet.
I think LJ played that for boost. He was low in the crease, so he's going to fall back and just play it long enough for OpTic to have to make this quick rotation, but they're going to burn a lot of time getting upfield. That's actually a great call by LJ. It gives his teammates some time to rotate back, gives him time to get resources, but you have to worry about the 1v1s, and if you don't get the clear off the bar, you're going to get punished. The Bear strikes again. It's 3-0.
Well, the Bear has been fed.
The trash was left out, and he ate it.
Yeah, you don't want a bear in your neighborhood, and unfortunately it doesn't seem like Space Station know how to get rid of it until winter comes. At least we're into the second half, and this is hopefully a refreshing part of the game where Space Station Gaming, they got time to work with, but it seems like OpTic Gaming just have not let them through too close to the orange net. Even through a couple of doubles that Space Station Gaming have been able to produce, even those get stifled because OpTic Gaming have such good awareness. Redirect from LJ, not getting the second touch, not getting the initial accuracy he wanted. Now OpTic Gaming coming through.
I mean, even in moments there where there's a clear double command, you're looking for a squishy save for OpTic. Like, Space Station still had a chance to hit their placement. They just couldn't get the angle. They couldn't get the shot they wanted, and OpTic gave them the space, and now Magic Bear trying to recover off the bump. But you got AJ ready just in case. Hoxer plays it to the left. I think that's either a missed shot or he didn't like the angle, but certainly should have been on target as Magic Bear avoids bump. And AJ just playing it low, keeping this one confident as he gets taken out of the play. Magic Bear just literally has to circle through the midfield, take away resources, and buy time. And there goes AJ again, but Magic Bear unwavered. Still kills all of this time, all of this possession and placement at midfield. SSG have had a 2v1 for about 20 seconds, and they have not advanced this ball any further than where it's at now.
Unless LJ can set up Boxer, but Magic Bear was ready in the air. Doesn't even let that pass go through. Off the back wall, LJ, good touch on the defense. OpTic Gaming roam in the midfield to keep Space Station trapped on their own end. And with 40 seconds remaining, OpTic Gaming just wasting time is all they need to do to go to match point. And I was expecting a close series. I mean, I even predicted Koi to lose previously, and I was wrong there too. So Space Station Gaming will be on last life coming up if they don't get their stuff together.
I mean, listen, like the diehard Koi fans, which I know very well, they're absolutely going to pick them. Nobody else really expected that to go the way it did, but hold on a moment. Is there a chance? Chat, is it winnable? Is it winnable? You're down 2, 16 seconds. You need a good kickoff. You don't want this one coming down to 0 seconds with a possession on your own side of the field. Here we go. The next 4 seconds matter the most. It's a great win by Space Station. Hoxer, no boost though, and that's going to do it. You think it might be possible, but it absolutely isn't. OpTic, 2-0 in the series, in a pivotal series. You win this, you qualify for the main event. You lose, you're out. And the green wall stands strong yet again.
And you pointed out how the kickoff was important just now, and Hoxer took his time. You had OpTic Gaming double cheating up, and Hoxer thought, okay, maybe if I receive wherever this 50 goes, I can take a shot while OpTic Gaming are busy, but even that doesn't work. Spacestation brought the creativity, they brought the aggression, but it's OpTic Gaming who had always rotated back, and even through the 2v1s you pointed out, Spacestation Gaming don't get a lot generated. So yeah, match point for OpTic Gaming, looking for that spot at Gamers 8, and hey, Koi will be next on the list too if they can make it through.
I mean, look, if you would have told me that Koi's gonna do what they did at Complexity and OpTic's gonna come in here and look good in the 3s and look even better in the 2s, how comfortable was Magic Bear? How comfortable was AJ against a mechanical, especially when it comes to close goal line spatial awareness, and LJ, how great he is at finishing at the rim? And then you got a player in Hoxer who's so good at continuing the play, who's so good on the ground, who is so good at finding teammates. How he looked in that start in game 1. If you would have told me that it would have been an OpTic stomping, I would have been like, I mean, maybe, but it shouldn't be this wide open. OpTic just looked like the team that everybody had expected them to be. They've clearly worked on the fundamentals, fixed so many of the mistakes. AJ and Magic Bear are looking as clean in their gameplay as Daniel and Beast Mode did today. And this is a good sign for OpTic, for Spacestation. You're at this point now, Lemon Kiwi. We talked a little bit about it. We had a preliminary conversation about what happens with momentum in this series. Now comes the question where I'm asking you, look, the momentum is not there for Spacestation. You need to win in a reverse sweep fashion to qualify for the main event. What do you say? What do you do going into 3s? Back to the standard. You lost this in game 1. What do you do?
I think you can forgive your mistakes a lot more when you have that third person in. You always have that band-aid, you know, the flex seal tape and the sinking ship, that if you mess up your rotations, you got someone that can cover your back. But it wasn't the defense that had really issues with the Space Station, is how can you get past OpTic on the offense? And maybe having that third person that can extend forward is a risk that Space Station might have to take. But Magic Bear and AJ connect at the front, and OpTic strike first.
I mean, you thought Calm was sitting pretty today, just enjoying the show. Reynolds is doing the same because Magic Bear is winning pinches off the ceiling. He's bumping in front of the net, and he's allowing AJ to follow up and slam this textbook home. This duo is unreal. You thought they looked good yesterday. They're looking even better right now. And they have just put themselves in the driver's seat of qualifying for Gamers 8. And they are just 4 minutes away from doing it in a 3-0 fashion against Space Station. My goodness.
I know, I'm just waiting for you to just rip your shirt apart and there's an OpTic jersey underneath and you're just gonna yell to the mountains that OpTic is the best team in Rocket League or some take like that. But LJ is gonna keep things competitive. What a shot to take when there's so many cooks in this kitchen.
This is what you need. Where's the second man? No clear from Magic Bear. Hoxer flies up, finds his teammate. Boom. LJ closes it out. It's those rebounds and recoveries from Space Station that used to make them a staple in North America, and especially with this new squad, you're looking for that consistency. As Reynolds, off the opening kickoff, plays it to the back corner. OpTic trying to hold possession here, but the press begins. Space Station now making their move. And with that, Arsenal trying to win the 50, can't do it. LJ flies up, and here comes Magic Bear and OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, Hoxer, barely misses that challenge in the potential demo. This is maybe something Reynolds can work with. OpTic Gaming lose that opportunity, but they quickly recover possession. Now the 50, Arsenal gets put in a locker, and OpTic Gaming are quick to rally another offense. The midfield is theirs, and LJ pops it up somewhere he doesn't want it to be. Good second touch, not letting OpTic strike again.
That's a great pinch, and he times the boost perfectly. Wonderfully done by LJ on the clear. There goes AJ, LJ on the ground, rewarded for his efforts prior, and grabs the back as well. So OpTic are going to have to think about that midfield rotation. If they want to keep this offense up, they cannot overextend to their own back line, at least not for the next couple of moments. Magic Bear patiently waiting for his chance. Reynolds might get the call. He'll fall off, a 2v1 in front, avoiding the bump. Where's Reynolds? Opposite side of the field. You got AJ as well. There's a demo. Numbers advantage to OpTic, and they capitalize. The power play is so good.
The passing between OpTic too, the way that they set up AJ for success, he puts the cape on and he flies above. I know Banks was asking us which Avengers we would be, but it feels like OpTic are playing like that. The way that their synergy shows on the field, the desk talked about, are these puzzle pieces fitting together immediately? And I'm seeing those signs already. And to put Space Station on a back foot like this is great to see.
The backcourt is full of Splash Brothers, and it is certainly AJ and Magic Bear. I am just Look, this OpTic team has made a lot of adjustments, especially just the players themselves, how much they've been grinding to the top. We know the history with FaZe and AJ, the history with Reynolds on SSG, and Magic Bear, what he brings to the table. A lot of people doubted this kid, trying to make his first LAN event ever. What this would mean for this squad. Spacestation still have a long way to go, but OpTic currently trying to keep this one out of reach. But AJ, underneath, LJ almost floats it through. Arsenal follows up. Nobody's hitting the bar. And you thought for a moment we're having a tie game, but instead, another chance goes by the wayside for SSG.
I thought that was like a pass to Hoxer or something, and Spacestation, no, it was me all along, Dio, putting it into the bottom left, and I know, and the post got in the way, you know, it happens. But LJ just lopping it over, Hoxer ready to maybe cross, no, Reddles keeps it going, Spacestation missed that, but they keep it going, reset available, Arsenal to Hoxer, and AJ shuts it down on the right side.
I mean, Hoxer made that read. He just made it a little bit too late, and it's not his fault. He's waiting for immediate challenge where he has to wave dash back and make a rotational play. But that pass came in so quickly, he had really no chance. And that's just another opportunity. It's been here all of this series. Spacestation have had chances. They really have. But the defense from OpTic's been good enough. The offense has been lethal. And Reddles, who's been kind of quiet, but really just letting his teammates work, is still fighting for possession through the corner, knows when to rotate out, gives AJ the space he needs, still winning it around and 50s his way through the front of the box. And yet somehow, some way, the defense breaks down and OpTic are trying to strike yet again. A minute to go, and the green wall are pressing, and they're pressing hard.
I thought they were gonna steal another one. It's still within distance for Spacestation to come back. Hoxer's just waiting for the perfect time here in the midfield. He's got two defenders to get through for OpTic. Looking to LJ for help. And as this lobs over, OpTic, great rotations, positions at the net, not letting Spacestation sneak anything by them. And on the back wall, that's protected too. Hoxer will bump Reddles off, LJ scoops it up, and AJ's there too. It's the layered defense of OpTic that Spacestation can't seem to peel back. Spacestation's so close.
I mean, Lemon Q, you're talking about it perfectly. Like, they're making these reads, but at some point it has to crumble. At some point, you can't put a hand up forever. LJ finally has the dish, the dive, the serve, and the connection on the goal line. Spacestation are in this with 20 seconds to go.
Serve and slay Spacestation to tie it up in the last 22 seconds. Got me on the edge of my seat, especially with match point for OpTic. Last couple of plays available. OpTic have a chance to still sweep this away because you're looking at Magic Bear. AJ, this ball got past him. Hoxer to the corner, bumping this off. LJ, Arsenal, and it goes in.
Reynolds to the corner. Hoxer wins a beautiful read on the center, and Arsenal beats the pre-jump. How do you beat a pre-read? You have to pre-jump. You got to get up in time to get over the defender. The lead for Spacestation. Life injected back for Spacestation. But OpTic trying to keep it up. Magic Bear towards the ceiling. Arsenal ready and waiting. The numbers are here. Spacestation have more than enough to kill this ball as Reddles centers back out. It's alive. For how long? Reddles underneath, but can't get there in time. Spacestation off of the brilliance of LJ in those last 20 seconds. Survive this game 3. They survive to a Coliseum, and we will see a game 4.
And we had said that Spacestation Gaming, the way that they can really succeed in threes is either, obviously you forgive those mistakes on the defense, always having that third man back. You saw just how difficult it was to peel back the layers of OpTic, but then Spacestation started committing all three players to this front line. Everyone getting involved to find a crack in that OpTic Gaming, I was gonna say armor, but the green wall pretty much, because that's what it felt like in front of the net. And Spacestation getting that at the last second. Just LJ keeps finding these crazy angles. He's at the perfect place at the right time.
I mean, Lemon Kiwi, you brought it up prior before LJ was able to eventually tie up that game in tandem with Hoxer, where OpTic were making the reads. No matter what SSG had defensively and trying to get back possession, OpTic were able to read what SSG was throwing at the board. Finally, you start to see an instance where not only does the pressure meet the moment, but the pressure's working and they're capitalizing on their placements. They're starting to finally find those angles they have been hunting for the majority of this series. And with that, you're looking at a successful rebound from Spacestation going into game 4, and now we'll see a 1v1. We will go back to the traditional traditional format of crew. With that, we now find ourselves in a position where Spacestation have to rely on LJ. And you look at AJ on the other side and you think, wow, OpTic have a real good chance to put this one out of reach. But LJ, a lot in front of him. Can he make it work?
Oh, that's so much pressure. And then you pick the 2 worst player names. Go in the 1v1, LJ versus AJ. All right, who's going to hold the L at the end of the day? Is it going to be WJ? Actually, the winner of this gets WJ at the end. And LJ we'll see if he holds the L at the end of the day. He's got the ball, though. And AJ reads that so well.
Well, if you're AJ, you can't afford to be timid in this 1v1. You're going to have to really stay aggressive. And LJ, again, so good at making reads on the swing. When the play starts to transition up the sideline, that's where LJ really thrives. It's recovery at midfield at the moment. Nice enough to keep AJ occupied. And AJ is able to circle around, prioritizing the boost. And how does he play this one? As LJ just has to worry about essentially staying in front of the ball as it pops precariously, but AJ waiting. Nice pop, but LJ's there.
Yeah, for now, AJ takes his time with it. Does a little cute backflip. Tries to get LJ off his game. But up in the air, soaring to the sky. LJ's ready. Reads it. AJ to the left, and LJ can't dive in time.
I mean, he just takes his time from the side wall. You got LJ off the ceiling, recovers, trying to stabilize, but you take too long. Once you've hit the pay dirt at that point, you've already given all the space, the head nod that AJ then gets. He's already beat you on the inside cross. You're going to be burned. And AJ takes the opening lead. It's 1-0 for OpTic. We'll see how things play out.
Oh, I'm worried. All the weight on your shoulders if you're LJ to keep Spacestation in. Oh, and it's not going to be like that, boy. Not like that. 2-0 for OpTic.
I mean, this is just way too much commitment here. LJ's so low, he has no choice. But you're free range if you're AJ. You can pick your placement, top left post, opposite corner, play it dead center. And then if you don't like it, you fall back, grab boost, try again. Luck of the draw on the kickoff, but yet again, second time in a row, AJ's there. And LJ's going to have to get very aggressive here to keep this one in front.
We talked about AJ being a highlight on OpTic, and this is the guy you can depend on. And so far, you put the eggs in the right basket. Oh, LJ trying to get above, trying to stretch it to the right post where AJ can't save it. And Spacestation coming back.
This is where the physicality can really play benefits, right? You're able to juggle it, just enough power behind the shot and take out or snipe AJ off the left wheel, and it gives him off trajectory. That ball's going to roll through every single time. SSG breathe. The fans are here. The team is close. They're working on the comeback, but they're going to have to get through AJ and the green wall, and that's a tall task. Plenty of time here on Coliseum. 2-1 series lead here for OpTic. And yet again, you win this series and you qualify for Gamers 8 later this year. A lot on the shoulders of LJ, but he's handled it so far quite nicely, as AJ will fall back and grab everything he needs to set up this attempt.
Yeah, just punishing the position. Oh, LJ thought he had that breakaway. AJ said, I'm quick with it, quick to come back. 50 boost, up in the air, trying to stretch it to the right post, just like he did last time, where LJ wasn't. 3-1 for OpTic.
And it's really more of AJ here, less of LJ's positioning. But once he slowed off the rotation through the corner, once LJ took his finger off the trigger just a bit, that's it. You have all the space there for AJ. You can stretch that defender out, and with enough speed, you're going to get it through every single time. It's the similar shot. AJ's going to show you what he's going for, especially when he wraps through the corner. LJ has to make that read, and he gets baited out as well. It's a nice flick, and it's a 4-1 lead.
Well, when it rains, it pours when it comes to AJ. When he starts scoring, it doesn't stop. 4-1 going into the second half is quite a hill, quite a mountain, I would say, for Spacestation to climb. But hey, I think they can go to space. If they can go to the moon, they can go to space. I'm sure they can go overcome this too. LJ, it's all up to you. And really, there's only one person you got to hype up, and that's where the mental game is important. How good you are as an individual to get back what you're good at. And LJ getting a little stuck.
No. Yeah, the pinch didn't work, and that's a free goal. Kill the time. You know it. Take everything you need. Look, I was just about to talk about the lack of pressure for LJ, right? He hasn't gotten possession much. It's AJ. He's that good at ones. But that pinch kills the entire play. The conversation's over. If you don't clear that, AJ is going to follow, he's going to hunt, and he's going to make sure you remember that you misplayed that ball. There's still a lot of time here. Winning the kickoff's huge. But how do you keep this one alive? Because right now, you have to find a way to get aggressive with AJ.
Feels like AJ can do whatever he wants. He has the reset, flicks, and LJ saves, gets dunked on 6-1 Brazil territory for OpTic on match point 2. And that's what I just finished talking about. Hey, LJ, you just got to get back in your own head. You don't have to worry about anyone else but yourself. And it's tough to come back if you don't have anyone to maybe hype you up in situations like this.
I mean, look, this is just sometimes clear-cut examples of one player is outclassing another. In this instance, LJ, fantastic individually, fantastic in the team format, but AJ is a different beast in ones. We see that separation on a lot of squads with how they wanted to approach this tournament. AJ as well, the musty and the dunk, letting OpTic Gaming get to Brazil. Green wall, stand up. Your man's here.
Green wall, but Spacestation blue in the face after that one. It's going to the second half just down bad, not in a good way at all. And LJ started making mistakes we don't know him for, and you depended on him and couldn't read that post bounce either, or just couldn't stop it from happening. AJ is putting on a show. And then going up against Koi tomorrow, you're feeling good about OpTic Gaming's chances, especially against that dark horse team that surprised a lot going up against Complexity, but Spacestation, it's still, I think, a bright future for them despite this.
Absolutely. Look, there's never an indictment against squads, especially like you're looking at Spacestation, Complexity, right? Teams that have a lot to prove but maybe didn't show their best here. Still plenty of time to make it interesting. And ones you never know, but as time continues to dwindle away through the corners, fighting for possession in traffic, 2, 3, 4 seconds at a time, it's all that's needed. And that's it. It's over. OpTic Gaming are qualifying for the main event. As much as you want the ones play to step up, you're going against AJ. You can't get the demo. You can't get the bump. It's a wrap. It's 9-1, and OpTic survive a very strong showing back in Game 3 from Spacestation, but AJ is too much.
Yeah, Spacestation's one game was up by 1 goal, and it's tough. Yeah, I thought this was going to be close, and AJ is just next level, like a demon on the field. I know there was so much excitement for AJ going into ones or even twos, and this is going to be the 10th one, just putting on a high score. At this point, like, when does AJ just want to chill a bit, you know?
I mean, look, you're going to make a statement if you're AJ, right? Like, again, these teams do not have bad blood. There's certainly history between them, but this is a chance for OpTic to kind of show the world what they can do, and that's exactly what they've done so far yesterday, so far today. For SSG, you got to hold your head high to some extent, right? Like, it's a new roster coming in. There are highs, there are lows. It's always going to be that way. It's never really a honeymoon period, but there's a lot to show for SSG, and there's a lot looking forward to for the spring split coming up. We're excited to see how this team can do, but for here and now in Gamers Without Borders, they will not be qualifying. OpTic Gaming will move on to the main event, and Spacestation, a valiant effort in this one. You got to tip the cap. 3-1, though, will be your final series score. As it's done in the ones, it's AJ you'd want, and it's AJ you got. That's it. GG's. OpTic 3-1 over Spacestation.
Oh, come on. Don't do it to him.
Do it, AJ.
No, don't. 11-1. Breadsticks across the board. LJ said GG, holds the L in LJ. And SSG, they got a new coach, so you can kind of look at this tournament, see the weaknesses, the strengths, what you have to work on, and gives you more time to prepare for the next one.
Absolutely, and I think that's really important, Lemon Kiwi, something you just brought up. Look, coming into this, Spacestation have a new coach. OpTic still with Greg. Spacestation make a change. It's going to take time for this team to get going. It's going to take time to work out the kinks, work out the fundamentals, and figure out chemistry-wise how you can get these players to gel better, because we know how good they are. There is no question that Spacestation is a talented roster, and they made a change for a reason. They felt they needed a new direction, and that direction yet to be seen, but certainly on the way. OpTic Gaming, too tall of a task right now, and the green wall just too strong. AJ closing it out in fashion as well. This was an absolute masterclass in ones. We've seen some great ones games today. This is at the top of the list as well. AJ was phenomenal. LJ tried. He really did. But he never had a hold on this game. Possession time, control of the ball, boost management. He was getting baited on the low ground. He was losing his angles in the rotations. This was all of AJ, and this was all of OpTic, man.
I like the positioning of the ball from AJ too. When he saw LJ on the left, he tucked it into the right. And when he saw, LJ unsure of himself, he had the quick flick, really forcing that reaction time. And LJ just in that shadow the whole time. AJ, you said the masterclass. I couldn't have picked a better word myself. He is one to fear. OpTic is one to fear when it comes to these 2s and 1s. This team that a lot of people weren't sure about how well they were going to do. Yeah, it's the 3rd seed, but we also had complexity. Our 1st seed already get knocked out, so your expectations are out the window when it comes to this bracket, but so is Spacestation Gaming, who have a lot to learn to grow this season.
They certainly do. And look, these are the events, if you're a team like Spacestation, if you're a team like Complexity, this is where you're going to learn a lot about what you're made of, right? Because granted, it's maybe not as much pressure on your shoulders as of now as like a massive world championship, but it is about finding whether or not proof of concept exists for your squad and when you can put pen to paper, what works and what doesn't. Let's talk about the intricacies of this squad. Let's talk about what SSG do well. The sustained offense was great in this series. What didn't work was how quickly they were getting pressured and how unable they were to break out of it. They seemed to be able to find their rhythm late in games, but that is only so much of the puzzle. They need to get the whole picture when it starts, and the kickoffs just weren't there. This was an OpTic Gaming showcase. For SSG, a lot to improve on, but a lot to look forward to. Lemon Kiwi, closing thoughts here for SSG and OpTic. OpTic move on. They're going to play Koi tomorrow. It's going to be a great matchup. How are you feeling about today overall, and specifically this matchup? What's your takeaway?
I think SSG, they brought the adaptations when it came to 3s, when I think there's more voices in the call and
absolutely.
more ideas that can be brought out. The fact that we talked about OpTic's defense had layers, and it had stop after stop, and every mistake was covered for by another player. Mistake, as in there was many people you had to get through. And SSG, when they committed all 3 to the front, you found the gaps eventually. But in these ones, you don't have a lot of support. You just got yourself, and you to coach yourself through the mental game. And when AJ is demoing you and then kind of like slow motion putting the ball into your net, it's kind of BM. I think you kind of forget about that.
You really do. And I think that's good. You have to have the memory of a goldfish. You got to forget about the little things. One thing we don't want to forget about, though, is Banks over there on the desk. You beautiful man. Talk to me, because we thought this could go 5, maybe with 3 Ls. Who knows? All predictions being fair. This was a stomping in some instances, Banks, and I'm really interested to know your perspective, because my goodness, OpTic looked good.
Yes, indeed. All predictions were fair, but Spaceman with a little pep in his step after OpTic Gaming take home the victory. And unfortunately, that means bye-bye for the opponents. That means that OpTic will be pursuing? What does pursuing OpTic are going to be going through into tomorrow's matchup against Koi. AJ, now dubbed WJ. I enjoyed that Lemon Kiwi, so I'm going to steal that from you. I'm joined by Corelli and Dazarin in the virtual studio. Corelli, what a performance by OpTic Gaming, it's got to be said.
Yeah, great performance by OpTic. And I think for OpTic, they, after that loss to Complexity, which I think is a fair loss, they really showed how they could bounce back. And of course, reaching, I think, the level that we expect the OpTic Gaming roster to reach. And of course, when you see AJ do what he does in the 1v1, they're so blessed to have him on that roster. Such a crucial rock to lean on when you're forced to go to a 1v1, or if you want to choose a 1v1. It almost feels like a free win at this point. OpTic looks so good with him by their side.
Dazarin, expectations were high for both teams, let's be honest, but OpTic overwhelming Spacestation the way they did. Rettles has gotta love that.
Oh, yeah, he does. Well, I mean, listen, when you got way on your team and you see him cooking left, right, and center all day long, Rettles could just sit and watch, because, my goodness, the entire event was the AJ show for OpTic Gaming. No disrespect to Magic Bear and Rettles, all great players who all stepped up and did their part. They have some highlights here on the clip, but let's be real. When it came down to it, clutch moments, clutch opportunities, 1v1, high-pressure situation to send the team through to the land, AJ was that player all day long, as consistent as could be. You see him in most of these highlights as well here. Good on Magic and Rettles for being able to help facilitate that and step up when needed to. Of course, you have to give credit to Spacestation Gaming. They did put up a tough fight overall, but when it got down to this 1v1, there's so many goals here that if we look through them all, I think we might be here all night, Banks. It was just the AJ show once he got going.
Yeah, once he got the ball rolling, that was it. Series highlights on your screen there, brought to you by Aramco. Corelli, looking forward to tomorrow. Based on today's performances, who are you most excited to see? Who do you think is going to put up big numbers?
Can I answer with 2?
Oh, yeah. Do whatever you want, my friend.
Okay,
Roll the
I'm
dice.
excited to see version 1. I love watching version 1 for all of the hype that we talk about with our roster. But I will say, I am excited to see what Koi can do in the rest of this bracket. I know everyone at this point have qualified, but Cosmic really redeemed himself, as we talked about in the desk before. And I think it's really fun to see a team that I think everyone didn't have on their radar to get through this. I think a lot of people picked Complexity. And I'm excited to see what Koi could do through the lower semifinals and then into the upper, or against possibly G2 or version 1 afterwards.
Yeah, doesn't matter what sport you're in, what esport you're in. We love an underdog story, so everyone is gonna have their eyes glued on Koi for tomorrow. We've got the bracket updated for you for the final time today, and this is what the standings look like. G2 Esports up against version 1 in the upper bracket final tomorrow. Unfortunately, we're saying goodbye to Accelerate, Complexity Gaming, Boulevard. They have all been sent packing, and Spacestation Gaming as well. Some incredible performances so far. A few upsets here and there, but more of the same. We like the fact that version 1 have made it through. Like we've said, high expectations for them. But nice to see G2 up there as well, right, Dazarin?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. For G2 fans, loving that so much to see, especially Atomic playing well there on the G2 squad, but also again just being able to see them get to that upper bracket final makes them feel very good going into all of the other events as well. But I am really excited to see how they'll match up against version 1 because V1 look like they're on the rise as well. I think that would be a tough match.
Yeah, Koi taking on OpTic tomorrow. Both teams are looking incredibly strong, and they've both qualified for Gamers 8, so that's cool. So all that remains is how much money you can make for the charity of your choice at this stage, and we're really excited for tomorrow. But for today, that is it. Thank you so much to Lemon Kiwi, to Spaceman, to Dazarin, to... Oh, we've got the schedule for tomorrow. We have a schedule. Let's get the schedule up on the screen. So I've already been speaking about all the matches that's going on tomorrow. Forget we had a schedule. For your time zones, this is for those of you watching at home, the viewers at home, the time zones. Lock it in. We've got 6 p.m. EDT going live with Koi versus OpTic Gaming. Then afterwards, we've got 7, and that'll be G2 versus version 1. Following that, we will have our lower bracket final, and then our not our upper bracket final, we'll have our grand final, and that will be for all the marbles. $1.25 million worth of charitable donations. First place taking that $300,000 donation to a charity of their choice. What an incredible thing to be able to do for humanitarian aid with this show. So thank you so much. Once again, I'm going to rewind and start that again. Lemon Kiwi, Spaceman, Dazarin, Corelli, Johnny, Jorby, Cole, and Stumpy. Thank you so much for all of your hard work today. That's a lot of names, isn't it? You guys were truly impeccable, bringing all the professionalism and the energy to this show, and absolutely loved working with you guys, some of you for the first time as well. Thank you to production for creating this amazing show and this space station that I'm in right now, Space Station. There you go. Thank you to all the players who took part in today's show. You were absolutely fantastic. You're pouring your blood, sweat, and tears into this game, and it is incredible. And finally, thank you so much to you at home for supporting your favorite teams. We really couldn't make this esport, these kinds of shows without you. Tomorrow, we will have the remainder of the bracket, and we'll be crowning a champion of the NA region, and $1.25 million will be donated to charities across the board. You are not going to want to miss it. My name is Banks, and I'll see you then.